Before we too far
Before we
off,
go too far?
far.
Before too
You know,
far?
if you're on a golf course, you can go far into the rough, and so that's when I chase after the golf ball for you because I'm going into the rough. There's a really bad pun in there that I'm trying to do, but I'm failing miserably, so I stopped.
This is Barely Furcasting, featuring Taebyn, an Injured Nerves audio production. Hello and hello and hello. Yeah, that's okay. You stop right now. Hello and hello and hello. Welcome to our little slice of the internet thingy.
We have a little slice of the internet thingy.
We do. I am Barely Normal, and with me is Taebyn. Hello, Taebyn. How have you been this week?
It's been pretty good this week. And, I was thinking about how we live in kind of a nice neighborhood. So I just had to share this story for every fur. So not too far away from where I live is a athletic center.
Do they have supporters there?
They do. They have supporters, and they have
athletic supporters?
They do. And they also have, to help support them, some bike racks. I just happen to remember that we were driving by. I had my puppy head out the window, of course, because that's what I do. And I noticed someone's bike that they hadn't chained up on the bike rack had fallen over. Poor person who's going to get their bike stolen because their bike just fell over and everything. And it's not chained to anything. Here's the type of neighborhood we live on. So we happened to drive past the same place the next day. And someone had come along and just picked the bike and stood it back up and went on their merry way.
Oh, that was nice of them.
I thought it was so hilarious and nice at the same time. It's like no one stole it. It's just they just picked the bike up and put it back up.
And put it back the way it's supposed to be. Of course. It's a nice thing to do. It's kind of like scraping your neighbor's windshield when you go out in the morning. But you probably don't do that because I know where you live is up in the wilderness.
Well, and it's actually at something like 550 feet, and my house gets more snow when the rest of the city doesn't. So it's funny for us actually not to have ice for it. So I know all about the ice and everything, but I thought it was just really funny and cute that no one stole the bike. They just picked it up. Maybe I'm the only one in the universe that think that's funny, but okay.
No, I think that's sweet. That's a thing that people should do. They should be nice to each other. Everybody should be nice to each other. We'd live in a much better world if everyone was nice to each other.
I 150,000% oppose that message, and I think that's a true thing. So every fur, let's do that.
Be nice to somebody. Do something nice for someone randomly just because. For somebody you don't know. That's your challenge for this week from Barely and Taebyn. Do something nice for someone you don't know.
Ooh, another segment. Let's do, and this will be a short segment. We can just say challenge for every fur for the week. Oh, I like it.
But it's been a crazy couple of weeks. We've had ice storms, snowstorms across the country. General mayhem ensued. We lost power here at my house for 3 days, which was not fun. Well, it was fun the first day. It's like, oh, we're going to camp. Yay. It's like I woke up and there was no power. And I was like, okay, well, it's my day off. No big deal. We'll just do some things. We'll go around, and we looked at the ice, and we made sure the house stayed warm without opening the doors all the time. And of course, it's amazing because, it's like, okay, we broke out the camp stove and the neighbors came over. We barbecued steak on a charcoal grill and made dinner for everybody.
A charcoal grill? That's hardcore. Old school
grill. That's very old school.
They still have those? Apparently someone still has those.
Yes. The neighbor that cooked on the charcoal grill, she is a die-hard charcoal grill cooker.
So that's like what she does. Oh, wow.
Yeah. She will not barbecue on propane or natural gas or pellets or anything. It's charcoal all the way.
She's got to do it au naturel.
We took a bunch of steaks out of the freezer and cooked those up and had a nice dinner. And then Sunday rolled around and we're like, yeah, that was fun yesterday, but not so much today.
It's a little not as good now.
It's not so good now. No, don't like it. Don't care for it. It's not very fun at all. And then Monday rolled around and it was still no power. And I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I mean, if it's not back on tonight, I'm going to a hotel. That's it. That's all there is to it. I don't care if I have to drive to Southern Oregon to find a hotel that has power. I'm not staying in this cold house one more night. But luckily the power came back on and all was well. The hot tub came back on and the hot water came back
Oh, well,
on.
the hot tub, you're living, it's everything's fine. The hot tub came back on.
Well, we could sit in the hot tub. I said, yeah, for what? It's just basically warm water that you're sitting in at that point if there's no power, because
Right.
you open the lid and the heat gets out, and then what are you going to do? That was my power outage fun.
Yeah, my as of the time of this recording, my
Mhm.
parent, I have a mommy and daddy dog apparently. That I
Yes,
don't know how that happened, but apparently it is a thing.
of
And
course.
they are at the time of this recording, they're hoping to get power back tomorrow. So
Oh, wow.
that's like 6 days or something. So I feel
Wow.
really bad. I'm a lucky pup. Maybe I shouldn't say this because I don't want to make anyone any for jealous. But at my place, and it's actually really weird because I was talking about how, we're high up, so we usually get ice and snow and everything before anyone else does. But it's only been wet. We did not get ice. We did not get snow. We did not have any power outages. Everything's been fine where I live,
Well,
even though
good.
the next town over, they had power
Yeah.
outages and stuff. So it's really
Huh.
weird.
I have to ask, did you understand the eyes checked joke that we did last week?
I haven't even thought about it. Could you remind me what that joke is?
Okay, the joke is, have your eyes ever been checked? No, they've always been blue. And you didn't get that joke. You didn't understand it. Even though you set it up and answered my question correctly,
Good for me, but also I still don't get the joke.
think of a checkerboard.
Okay, I am thinking of a
Okay.
checkerboard.
Okay. And there's black and white, black and white, black and white. Okay.
Hmm.
That checkerboard is considered a checked board. It's checked.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So have your eyes ever been checked? As in, have you ever had a pattern on your eye that's
Okay.
checked,
Okay.
like squares? And you said no, they've always been blue. So I'm
But
asking you if your eyes were colored as a checkerboard, and you said no, they've always been blue.
but okay, I get it, but did that come from my
It's
1968 really bad joke book? Because
no, it came from me,
oh,
and
I
yeah,
mean, I love it. I love it so much. That's the most hilarious thing I have ever
the
heard.
most hilarious thing you've
Thank
ever
you for
heard
explaining that to me.
in the
I'm
last
laughing
3
so
seconds.
hard that I'm crying. You just can't hear the tears.
It's 6:30. I'm gonna prost. I'm gonna
I want you
prost
to prost.
Prost. Well, isn't he a famous poet or something, philosopher?
Frost.
Frost is a poet, but what is
Prost.
Prost? Prost? What is Prost?
Prost.
Uh-oh, things to follow up on next week.
Things to
I
follow.
I know that Prost is somebody.
Okay. Prost is some. Okay. I can't.
I know.
I know there's a provost, but that's not the same, probably.
That's a provost, like a provost marshal.
Yeah, or provost of a university or something.
Well, we're waiting for anybody to log in. I see something here that you have a question for me.
I do. I have 3 notes and a question, and actually 2 questions because actually my first question is, how are you doing, Barely? I don't know if you
Well, I'm
really ever
doing
told
okay.
me how you're doing.
I
You're
s
doing
I said I'm
okay.
doing good. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
we're
you
doing
did?
great.
Okay. I
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I
yeah.
got distracted probably. Okay.
You got distracted? Never.
I know that I thought that would shock you.
It shocks me to the nth degree.
The nth degree. I feel like no for is listening anymore, but if you are, thank you. So I
Yes.
have a few notes and
Okay.
a question for you.
Okay.
I was realizing the other day, like when you're at a con, or maybe not a con, but somewhere, and you're in an elevator and you tell a joke, and everyone laughs so hard, and it's like it wasn't even that good of a joke. I mean, that's just something, and I realized why that is. Why in the elevator it's just so much funnier. It's because the
Mhm.
joke is so good because they work on so many different levels.
Oh.
I mean, right? And
Oh.
and also I realized something else. So apparently I was having puppy thoughts this morning because these thoughts just came to me. I realized that, you can fun with someone and trick them and everything and tease them and everything. And I realized when you're good at funning with people, you have expertise.
Oh.
I realized that myself. I don't know. It's just
Mhm.
something I did. And the third thing, and this is actually pretty interesting, something I didn't know, and maybe you don't know either.
Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe.
We'll find
So
out.
we will find out. So my hubby has actually been to Germany twice. And actually, when he was in Germany, he noticed on a lot of the bridges were padlocks. And he didn't know why. He had some ideas why and everything. But apparently we were talking about this the other day and I forget how it came up. But he was telling me about how in Germany there were all these padlocks on the bridges and he didn't know why. So I looked it up and it turns out it's a thing. Did you know it's a thing? You did know it's a thing.
Well, I did know that. Yeah.
I did not. So let me tell all our listeners, or maybe hopefully at least one listener now, what this is, because I was excited to find out about it. That it's not just in Germany. It's called a love lock or a love padlock. It's a padlock that sweethearts lock onto a bridge, fence, gate, or monument, or similar public fixture to symbolize their love. And Barely, you're such a romantic. I know you know all about this already, but I'm a pup. Yeah. Apparently, I'm not a romantic pup. I didn't know any of this. But apparently, my hubby didn't either, so we are not romantic. But so typically, the sweetheart's names or initials, and perhaps the date, are inscribed on the padlock, and its key is thrown away, often into a nearby river. I mean, I guess if it's on a bridge, you just throw it over the bridge. You don't have to go finding the river.
Nope.
And this symbolizes their unbreakable love, which I think is pretty sweet. Since the 2000s, love locks have proliferated at an increasing number of locations worldwide. They're mostly treated by municipal authorities as litter or vandalism. I mean, come on. These are loveless authorities, I guess. And there is some cost to their removal, so they get unhappy about that. However, there are authorities who embrace them and who use them as fundraising projects actually or tourist attractions. So this is a total controversial subject that might happen upon, and I thought that was pretty cool and interesting.
I remember when that first started, I think the original one was somewhere in France or Italy or somewhere like that.
Oh, really? Okay.
One of those, famous places for love. And the French or the Italian. They did it on a bridge, and the bridge, they had so many locks on the bridge that the bridge was starting to collapse under the weight of all the locks. Yeah.
Wow.
There were hundreds of thousands of locks on this bridge. And so the city literally took the rails off where everybody had locked their locks and put new ones up, and then installed the locked rails alongside the walkway on the bridge so that people could still use it, they put actually more rails up for them to lock the locks on.
Do that. That's
and
awesome.
Ask them not to do it on the bridge because
it might break the bridge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you call heavy love right there.
Oh, indeed. Heavy love.
No, but that's very cool and interesting to know. I love that they did that. They put up they wanted to preserve all that love, but we can't have people collapsing because of the bridge, so we'll just do something else. So
the other problem with that is that the keys in the river start to rust and that causes pollution. So it's a trade-off, So.
There is there's the love thing, which is all pure and sweet and wonderful, but then reality sets in and the key with your unbreakable love, you remember that? Yeah, it's causing pollution and people are dying. So your love is very toxic.
Toxic love. I think that's a song also, isn't it?
There's a lot of dimensions right here. Oh, and so I have a question for you, Barely. Another question.
Yes.
Well, you don't know that the answer is yes, but it might be. The question is, how does a chicken Vlanderscheel? How does a chicken Vlanderscheel?
How does a chicken Vlanderscheel?
That is the question.
I don't know what a Vlanderscheel is, so I don't even know how a chicken would get a hold of one.
The answer is yes.
Good. Yes. How does a chicken Vlanderscheel? What is Vlanderscheel?
Well, you must know the answer because the answer was yes.
If only I knew what the question meant. If only. As my grandpa used to say, if wishes were horses, we'd all take a ride. But I don't know. I didn't know what that meant for a while. Because
do you know what that means now?
Well, I kind of do. We'd take a ride on the horse. But when I was a kid, I was like, I don't have a horse.
Oh, yeah. How can I? What?
Why
Grandpa,
would I take
come
one?
on.
Yeah, right.
Put down the whiskey.
No, I like the whiskey. Anyway, so let's get along to Last Time Today. Last time today. So the pancake joke.
Remind me what that joke was. I remember we had issues with it.
The issue was that there was 3 men in a bar talking about how they named their children after certain holidays. One was born on
Oh, yeah.
Valentine's Day, so they named their child Valentine. His son was born on St. George Day, so they named him George. And the Irishman says, "That's the same thing happened with our son Pancake." And we were like, "Huh?" So
I don't know. I don't know. So
right.
so someone figured that out?
Several people figured it out, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Is a thing.
It's
Okay.
a thing. Pancake Day is a holiday.
Pancake, it's a holiday. Okay.
It's
Wow,
a
this is kind of
holiday
exciting. I
It's a
wag.
holiday in, the United Kingdom and in Ireland. It's ironic
Isn't it ironic?
that it was just celebrated this month on February 16th. It is the day before Ash Wednesday, which is also known as Shrove Tuesday, which is the beginning of the Mardi Gras season right before Lent. It's a Catholic thing.
So there's Valentine's Day, and then there's Pancake Day because you loved, and so you now have to love having pancakes, and then you
Well,
have
no,
mushrooms.
no, no. See, here's the thing. So Easter
Yeah.
is what the Catholics celebrate because of the dead prophet rose from the dead, you see.
The dead
So
prophet.
right, he rose from the dead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
and so the Catholics have Easter. Now, Easter is the only holiday that moves around on the calendar.
Oh, right,
I
because it's on the Sunday, and so that could change the number of the month could change.
So Lent usually starts anywhere from the middle of February to the middle of March, depending on the Catholic calendar of when Easter is going to
Okay.
fall. So this time, Pancake Day landed on 2 days after
So
Valentine's
it's
Day.
not. I see.
It's
There's
not
not
always that
necessarily
close
any.
together,
I
right.
see.
So, not only did Hexflame explain this to us, but, of course, our chief fact checker reported about it, as did
Which is
TikTok,
it, and his name is?
Rain Raccoon,
Okay.
our chief
Shout
fact
out, shout
checker,
out.
yes, and, so did TikTok and Reg Day, who is our music associate.
Oh, wow. So we had, like, a ton of furs, like, do this for us.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah, 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 and in fact, Reg Day said, "Yeah, we just celebrated that the other day,"
This
when he pointed it out, so it's like,
and
"Oh,
they
okay."
had, like, pancakes all day long?
They eat pancakes on that day.
Wow.
And I think the reasoning behind it is that, as you may or may not know, I don't know if you ever raised Catholic or something along that line.
My dad was
Lent.
Catholic.
So that's right. You mentioned that once before. So Mardi Gras was a way to celebrate the beginning of Lent. And it was so for Lent, you're
Oh, okay.
supposed to be repentant and solemn, and you gave things up and you sacrificed until Easter. And so Mardi Gras came about to have one big party before Lent started.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And yeah,
I did not know.
and pancakes are a fun thing to do, and a lot of people give up pancakes in the UK for Lent, and so they would have Pancake Day on
This is
Shrove
so
Tuesday.
beautiful. I love this. This is
It's
amazing. I had
it's
no
amazing how
idea.
these things connect together, isn't
It
it?
is so amazing. And so then it became a gay icon somehow.
A gay icon?
Because Mardi Gras has lots of gay people, like, in beads and not much clothing.
Well, all people, regardless of their sexual
Oh.
orientation, celebrate Mardi Gras,
Oh, not
not
What?
just gays.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
wow.
Anyway, that's a lot of hubbub for a dead prophet. That's what I'm telling you. And do you have anything that you would like to clarify from our last time?
This isn't necessarily last time, but as you know, I listened to previous episodes to, because I
Hmm.
love hearing how they come out and all that good stuff and everything. So I
Hmm.
actually finished today episode 39, which is the episode with Ronnie Noodles. So shout out to him. But so things come out of that episode, which weren't really because of Ronnie Noodles, but just part of that episode. Several things. I guess another question for you, Barely. Has Moo Bark Fluff been approved? Where are we in that process of getting Moo Bark Fluff approved as the standard greeting?
I did send it up the chain, and
Okay.
I have not heard back from
Oh,
anyone yet. And it
so
might have a lot to do with the pandemic and the fact that they're very, very busy these days.
or the
But
government, yes, it's a government thing. I
it's the
understand that.
government thing. It could take forever, and by the time we get it back, we'll have forgotten what it was all about.
Unless I listen to episode 39 again, then we're going to be revisiting this all over again. So we better not let me listen to episode 39 again.
Well, and then to you, my friend Mubark Fluff.
Moo Bark Fluff. I love that you did that. So, okay. Everything is okay now. I feel a lot better
Okay.
about stuff. Other things that came out of that episode, you know how the furries in the news thing, I I do my thing.
Yes, I do. I know how you do your thing.
And usually it's a little cray. Well, this particular one, oh, I am such a cray pup. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my cow. And then another thing. Oh, yeah. So you also mentioned how Telegram was going to monetize, and you had surmised how that was. They were going to just do that for super groups and everything. And I said, I'm not in very many big groups on Telegram. I am in my biggest one. I had said was at 23,000 for Telegram group. And I heard that. I'm like, no. That's not right. It was 2,300. I was off by
Oh,
zero.
yeah.
It
Well,
makes a
that's a
big
big
difference.
zero. It
It's
makes a
a
big difference.
big zero, big difference. So I
It's
wanted to clarify that. I thought that was important.
2,300, not 23,000. Okay.
It's like a lot more. See, another note I had, and I'm not sure why I have this note, but I noted hold my back. So in that episode, I said something about hold my back, and I meant to say something else, but I said hold my back instead. And I don't remember why. So
Okay.
I guess second challenge, since we're doing a challenge thing now, second challenge from this episode. If any fur could remind us why I had to hold my back, let us know, and we will be eternally grateful. The other note I had was in one of the really bad jokes, you did so really good. You always do really great with the sounds and in any of the jokes, but especially in this particular one, for one of the things I said, you had a train sound.
Uh-huh.
Instead
Yeah.
of like a toilet flushing or crickets or something. And I
Uh-huh.
thought it was hilarious that you had a train. I don't even know why, but
I
I
don't know.
thought it was hilarious. And another thing, not from that episode, but from, we had the live recording of the podcast on the virtual FC. And at the end, during a really bad joke section, because of the technology, one of the jokes, I think it was I said, because it was from our really bad jokes book, you couldn't really hear. So I thought, just for posterity's sake, because you couldn't hear the punchline, you heard the setup, but not the punchline
Oh, okay.
because of technological things. And it's very not worth it. But I thought, hey,
But you're going to do it again
I'm going
anyway.
to do it because I want to make sure every fur actually hears that.
You don't want them to, because we've gotten so many cards and letters saying, I wish I knew what the punchline to that joke was.
Exactly. And by so many, we mean
You
none.
mean,
The joke was the teacher says, Sally, tell me where the elephant can be found. And Sally says, Teacher, the elephant is such a large animal that it is scarcely ever lost.
I don't even remember you saying that joke.
There's a reason. The reason was it's really bad, but I told it anyway. And that concludes my last time today for this week.
All right. Well, let's move on to media. Now, you had told me that I have to give you Cobra Kai updates.
Yes.
I can't give you one this week because I didn't watch an episode this week.
Because of the power stuff. Yeah.
So we haven't TV'd it all this week, except for today when my work day was over and I had laundry to fold. So I turned on Netflix. There's a new Netflix sitcom called The Crew.
The Crew.
The Crew, and it stars Kevin James. You may remember Kevin James from
I do not remember Kevin James.
The King of Queens.
I do not have seen that show.
Really? Okay. Well,
I know.
I know.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. Anyway, that's on reruns also, so it's kind of
But whatever he is, there it is. He's on it. Okay,
Yep.
good.
Yep. And so this is a story, or it's a story. It's a show. It's a sitcom about a NASCAR pit crew or a NASCAR crew and the stuff that they do and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of funny. Kevin James kind of plays the same character no matter what he's in. If you see him in one thing, he's the same in all of them. And that seems to be the trope a lot of times with the newer actors.
Since they're like the pit crew with the motorcycle and everything's all the same with the actors and something, they probably eat a lot of apricots because that would be the pits.
That's a good show if you'd like to watch it. I would recommend it. It's kind of funny. It's kind of it's a fun little half-hour show. It takes about 20 minutes, and because it's on Netflix, it's got a few risque moments in it, if you will. So
risque.
So do you have any media? Because last week we got so far into the podcast and you said, I didn't do my media. And so we had
I
to do a
didn't.
rewind to do the media.
To do that, that's right. No, no, no. I do, but it's not very exciting.
Okay, well,
We
let's hear what you
started,
got.
so we continued watching Lucifer. We've talked about
Mm,
a little ago, and as I said, I think I said last time, Honey likes it, but I like it more. So like he kind of falls asleep towards the end a little bit, and I keep
mm,
watching, which means I watch the episode over again so that he can watch it anyway. And then we've been watching Young and Hungry, the next season.
right.
You know those things where like it's Netflix. So, and by the way, Young and Hungry is still kind of it's mediocre, but it has some good episodes. Like the one we watched today, it turned out to be actually a really good episode. It's a Valentine's Day episode, and it was actually really funny and good. We'll see what happens if we continue the season or we just stop and go to Mr. Mayor instead and come back.
Hmm.
That's my media for the week.
All right. Well, I think it is time for our guest.
Yes. Let's get to our guest, Mr. Hogwash Husky. He's amazing. I love him. We've been to cons together. We've emceed together some dance comps, and he's really great. I'm looking forward to talking to him. So yeah, let's jump into that.
So joining us today is Hogwash Husky. Hello, Hogwash, and welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on the show with us today, Hogwash Husky Weg.
I'm going to start this out because it seems like I've lost Taebyn somehow for some reason. I don't know why,
It
but
happened. I lost my
it
leash.
does.
I don't know. I don't have that.
I don't know. He's chasing his tail. So one of the things when we were researching you out, how do you feel? You've been researched? Dun dun dun. But you have is it racket or hogwash?
Yes.
What's the two? What?
So the original suit when I first became a furry was racket. So of course, with any name for any fursuit, the first thing I thought about is you can't spell racket without spelling it incorrectly.
And with all the noise you always made, you always made the racket.
That was the idea from the very beginning. So that was my original character, which was originally a fox, but then as the design came to be, people started calling me more of a raccoon than an actual fox. So raccoon kind of just fell into it. So it became the foxcoon racket. Hogwash came later, about 3 or 4 years later on down the road.
So did you come up with the name Hogwash, or did somebody say something to you that's a bunch of hogwash? And
No,
said, that's the perfect name.
No. So the name Hogwash originated from Boulder Dash. So an old friend of mine put a character on, oh my gosh, what's that website called?
There's a few of them out there these days, like 2 or 3. I don't know.
So
I could go down the list.
I think FA was the original, was where I started online.
Oh, for Affinity?
Yes, there you go. That.
Okay.
Okay. So I haven't used that in ages.
That you forgot that name just now. I don't. Okay.
Don't judge me. I've been on Twitter this entire
Okay.
I didn't sign up. I signed up on Twitter in 2013 or 14, but it's been out for 20 years. A friend of mine, she Dogbone was her name, and she came up with Boulder Dash, and then she posted it online as a character for sale. And I still have the original artwork. Actually, I immediately fell in love with the character, so I put in a bid, and then I guess one of her friends also put in a bid, and $10 turned into $200 in a matter of hours. So she sent me a private message asking me to stop bidding, and she will just stop bidding, because I wouldn't have let it go. She said she would help me with a similar character because of how much I fell in love with the design. We met up at a friend's place, and she was doing the artwork on a projector where I could see it. That's how Hogwash came to be. Okay. And that's how Hogwash is Boulder Dash's younger brother, because Boulder Dash came out first, and then shortly afterwards Hogwash was created.
And you realize in old vernacular, Hogwash and Boulder Dash mean the same thing, right?
Yes, that's correct. Okay. That's why their last names are the Slandersons.
Oh, I've just now put 2 and 2 together. Okay.
Has there been a conclusion as to if orange or blue is better?
The investigation is ongoing.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
I've recently come up with a saying: blue will enter, orange always wins.
Blue will enter, and orange. Yeah.
Orange always wins.
Win.
It's been a huge controversy between the two of us. It's a friendly, love to hate kind of blue versus orange. But
Although I saw
it sounds like there's a lot more blue than there is orange out in the fandom. So I'm just trying to spread the
the
orange.
love. Okay,
Orange.
I see. Because I was
Well, orange is the new blue.
You're gonna have to tell Boulder that. I'm gonna have to tell Boulder Dash that one.
In a recent video, though, I forgot what it was at a dance comp that you were at. I forget recently, a few years ago or something. Well, Boulder Dash was there, but then Hogwash came out and just pushed him aside, and it's like, oh, there's still some rivalry there.
Yeah, so that's how blue versus orange started.
Oh,
so when he came out, so they announced Hogwash is coming out, like, next on stage. And then Boulder Dash decided to just walk out. Everybody's cheering, expecting orange to come out. And then there's blue. And then they're like, wait a minute. What happened? Did you go through the wash or what? So then, I come out, and I get him off the stage, push him out. And then of course he has to dab on the way out.
Yeah. That was like FC. Remember, Barely, when the lights went out every time they dabbed, or was that BLFC?
Mm-hmm.
That was FC.
It was FC, right?
Yeah, it was FC. FC's competitions have been nonstop, like up and up. I really love those competitions.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And I have to know, does Poppycock ever feel left out?
I believe she does, because she doesn't really get to go out very often. She's very shy, but we're trying to get her to come out of her shell. The biggest thing is about getting her hairstyle right and, making sure she matches. And she's very conscious of, the way she looks. And, but, eventually she'll overcome that fear and then she'll come out, hopefully after COVID.
That would be a good time to
hopefully,
do
that. If COVID ever goes, if COVID, ever subsides.
I'm not sure that's going to. I think they're saying now we're going to have it for a long time. It's going to be like
it's going to be a new norm, kind of like the flu. You get to get your annual flu shot, and
everyone will wear masks all the time. We'll be like Japan,
or we'll just be like every fursuiter has to wear their head instead.
Don't lose your head. Really, don't lose your head.
All fursuit heads will come with mesh covers over your mouth inside, so it's built in. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. I've seen some seen out in public. They actually have beak masks that are actually like mouths, and they actually move when they talk.
It's amazing. So tell us about your bunny backpack thingy. Speaking of bunnies, because that's apparently what we were talking about. Tell us about that. There must be an awesome story about
that. So the bunny backpack is actually the bunnies from the Borderlands games.
Oh, cool.
The character Tiny Tina has two stuffed bunnies, and their names of those two bunnies are Felicia Sexopants and Mushy Snugglebites.
These are two things that I did not know, and I probably didn't know I ever would know.
They're from the Borderlands games, and when Borderlands 2 came out, my wife and I fell immediately in love with Tiny Tina. And when we started doing some of her quest line, you have to collect Felicia Sexopants and the Snugglebites. You got to actually attach some badonkadonks to them, which is also known as explosives.
Of course you do. What else are you going to do?
Okay.
I want you to say that again, like all three of those words in one sentence.
Felicia Sexopants and Mushy Snugglebites.
And what do you have to do to them?
With badonkadonks.
Yes.
Stuff them with
badonkadonks.
I feel my night is complete now.
Why?
Well, thanks for being on the show.
We're talking about explosive badonkadonks.
Yes.
Apparently, I got excited. You were going to say something else about that, and I feel it's going to be even more exciting.
So it's I guess they have a booty like pow. That's what she was saying. So
booty like pow. Okay.
There's like a lot to unwrap there.
I'm sure you can Google it.
So you've been in the fandom a while. You started you mentioned this a little bit ago. And so how long have you been in the fandom, and what brought you to it, and what brought you to the furry and this wonderful fluff?
So this wonderful fluff started back in 2010. So I'm actually still very young in the fandom itself. I found out about furries when I saw my very first fursuit at a Navy base party on Halloween. It was a costume party. Yeah.
Nice.
So it was in San Diego, and the first fursuit I ever saw was Razzle Dazzle. So it's a pink and purple sparkle saber.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is all I'm thinking.
both of their suits were done by Made for You back in, in the early days. And, I, at the time I was wearing a full mask with a bone mohawk.
Okay.
Yeah. Sharp teeth, everything, I tried to scare kids. They just went, "Oh, look, that's pretty."
Okay.
So I'm like, wow, that's, can't scare kids these days. So yeah, so I talked to them, and we both. So at the party they had go-go dancers on these small stages, and then they got on one stage, so I naturally had to get up on the other.
Of course.
Naturally.
And so we had our own little dance off, and of course, because Razzle Dazzle was cuter, he won. I mean, the kids told me I was cute, but I guess purple sparkle sabers were much cuter.
Whatever.
So you won. Yeah. So after the party and everything, I kind of ran into him again, and they asked him where it came from, and he told me about Made for You. He told me to just look up fursuiting, and then when I looked at fursuiting, I just typed in fursuiting.com, and that's how I ran into Lacey and Nick's their website. So I looked at all their artwork, did a little bit more research, and fell in love with Lacey and Nick's work. And then I went on deployment the following year. Over the course of time, that's why I say that Racket was born in, I think they were in Florida at the time, but he was designed in Kuwait and Afghanistan.
Wow. Okay. So he's been all around, like literally all around.
His feet paws were ordered for his first set of Healy paws were ordered, and they were shipped to Afghanistan. And then I had to ship them, from the States to Afghanistan, and I had to ship them back to the States to Lacey and Nick.
So that was expensive, maybe?
Yeah. So the shoes have been around the world.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Cool. And the rest is really history. I mean, here you are, and you've been going to cons ever since. Or when was your first con then?
So my first con was after I got back from deployment. So my first con was FC 12.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't know what to expect. So I basically just stayed up all night, every night, trying to get as much of the experience as I possibly could, which was not a good idea, by the way. Now that I look back on it, you get really sleep deprived really early. And then it wasn't until after the con that I realized that there's a 3-2-1 rule.
But was it only 3-2-1 back then?
Well,
I think it was
3-2-1. 3 days on, 3 days on, 2 days off, and 1 hour sleep, right? That's what that is?
Something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Sounds about
I think it was like 3 meals for the weekend. I think it was, I don't know what the 2 meant back then, but it was like 1 shower and, for the whole con, something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You get there, you get a shower, and then you don't shower the rest of the con, but you wear your fursuit all day.
Okay. I think it's still that way for some furs at cons, even though it actually should have progressed, but they're still living back in the maybe 1-1-1 day. I don't know.
The 1-1-1.
The 1-1-1,
yeah.
When you only had 1 meal, 1 shower, and 1 hour sleep for 4 days or something. I don't know.
Well, FC I think is closer to 5 days because it starts. I think day 0 is Thursday, and then people stay until Monday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we usually get there Wednesday night, and then we're there till Monday. So yeah,
that's like my BLFC experiences too.
Yeah, we do the same thing at BLFC too. We try to get there a day early and a day because I have to drive both directions to both of those. So I always tell Taebyn, well, we're not going to leave the very next day because we're going to be up till midnight and I have to drive 10 hours. So I'm not going to do that.
I've done that drive a number of times too. Yeah. From San Diego and from.
Oh, San Diego. That's not too bad though. How long is San Diego?
I think that's 12 hours.
Oh, really? Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't know my California very well, apparently, because I thought it.
It's very big, Taebyn. It's a big state.
It's a big thing. Okay, I don't.
It's very long. It's on the West Coast. It's kind of, I think it's 2 states below me.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, 1 state below you.
1 state. Yeah.
Yeah. So funny story about that. I years ago I was chasing fugitives as part of my job. And I had to call the California Bureau of Investigation. And I told this gal, I says, well, I'm up in Oregon. And she said, where's that? And I said, well, I said, well, it's the state right above you. And she says, no, the state right above us is Washington. I was like, okay, well, can we talk to somebody else now?
Who did not fail geography?
Right, exactly.
That sounds like a type of state dyslexia or something.
Right? Yeah. It's like California, Washington. There's nothing in between, apparently. So
where's Portland? So where's Portland and all that?
I think Portland's, it's like south near Mexico City.
Yeah. It's up by Arlington, Washington.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So how many
Canada somewhere?
how many cons would you normally go to then? Would it vary every year, or did you have set things you would go to?
It did vary year to year. So I believe in 2012 I went to two. I went to FC and Califer that year. I think in 13 it was FC, TFF, Califer, Anthrocon, somewhere up in that area.
Wow.
I think there was one year that I went to 13 I went to BLFC as well. That was the first year the BLFC launched. After the first year of BLFC, I told myself I would never miss one. Yep. And I ended up missing 19, unfortunately. That was the first year that I missed out of all of them. I have chips from every con so far, except for 19 and 20. Hopefully we get back pay for that 20.
So moving along to Furlandia, let's talk about that a little bit.
So I've been to a couple of Furlandia cons, and that wasn't until after I moved up to Washington. Califer was a big, kind of like a local con thing. And at the time, after the loss of Rainforest, I needed something, besides the local con. So I had to drive 2 hours to go to Califer. So when I looked up Furlandia was 3 hours away. And as it turns out, a good friend of ours, Odie, lives maybe about 10 minutes from the con. So we kind of took advantage of that, and we just stayed at his place where we hung out with him, Snow Bunny Shelley, BNC Creation, that suit maker. He was also there. That's how we came to be. And then I'm still hanging out with these,
I see.
Odie and some other friends too till today.
Cool. I went to until today. Like today, you stopped. It's like you're
until
done.
Today. Yeah.
Sorry, you're done. I'm done with you.
Still not till today. Still today.
Still, I see. Good. Sometimes words have meanings. I've been to Califer once. It was my second con ever. That was 2016. The year before, I think they didn't have a 2017 or something. But
I think that may have been the first year that we met, though. We may have met sooner, because Califer was 16 was my last Califer.
Oh, and I was
it was everybody's last Califer, but
it was yours.
But so that was the last year that I hosted the fursuit events for that con.
Oh, okay. We've known each other longer than I realized.
Yeah, so I was the coordinator for the competition. I was basically the fursuiting events coordinator. So right. The dance comp, the games, the parade. I designed the parade routes
nice.
for the new hotel as well.
So you've been in that a long time. So Furlandia came up because I have this memory, and I've tweeted. You know about this actually because I've tweeted about it. But I remember Furlandia. It must have been 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was on. It was like after closing ceremonies. I was on stage there, and everyone was going away. I don't know. I think Bucktown was with me, and we were whatever. Two girl things. They're girl things apparently. I don't know. They came up to me and said, Taebyn, you should marry Hogwash. I don't know where you were. You were like off somewhere. And they were like in unison, Taebyn, you should marry Hogwash. And I'm like, okay, I'll go find him and propose right now. And I didn't go anywhere, but they ran off to find you or something. I don't know. And anyway, that's a memory I have.
So they told you that you needed to propose to me and you didn't do it?
Well, I didn't know where you were. I just realized I got myself in trouble.
So Hogwash, I have to ask, if he had proposed to you, would your life be different right now?
Ooh. I think so. Actually, I think I would still have some of my youth, or maybe it's a good thing that Taebyn didn't propose, because I probably would have forced him to grow up just a little.
Oh,
we don't,
and I don't ever want you to change. So I think it's for the better.
I think it was for the best.
You stay a pup.
I will. I am a pup, and I will stay as much as I can. And I have to notice, because while we're on that subject, behind you, you have a little Gumby thing.
Oh, this thing. It's going to be really funny because no one else is going to see that.
Right.
You're like, I have to point this out, but no one on the podcast is going to see it. Yeah. So actually, this little Gumby thing is also a game character from Unravel. So it's on, I don't think it's strictly on Xbox. I think it's on a couple of other platforms as well. It's basically a puzzle game. You have to get through a certain amount of levels, and there's a story behind it where it's a magical, like raveled character that was woven together as you play throughout the puzzles. It tells you a story of kids who went through something. I haven't played the game in a while. I actually have to replay through it.
They go through something. No, they find
so they go through something, and then it's the kids who get they're running away from I guess like an abusive or some kind of bad situation.
They're running away from abusive sheep.
An abusive sheet. Did you say a sheet?
I meant to say sheep, but maybe a sheet too. Like maybe they were having a nightmare, and then their sheep. They tried to run away, and
so the string that was used to make a sheet is chasing these kids, and a woven yarn Gumby character is trying to save them.
That makes perfect sense to me. In my little puppy brain, that's exactly what's going on. So I think that's definitely right.
Okay. Sure. Okay.
So speaking of dancing, and actually you started actually being involved in like coordinating dance comps and hosting them for a while now, it sounds like. How did you get into that?
Yes. So I kind of fell into it after a couple of competitions. So I'm pretty sure there are a very select few that remember my very first competition. I don't think it's posted anywhere. It might be on the internet somewhere. Everybody thinks that my first dance competition was at Rainforest in 2013.
They do think that, but that's not true, apparently.
No. So my first dance competition was at BLFC in Racket.
Oh, okay.
I think it was at 13, the very first year they did. They didn't have any performers or enough performers to have a show. So at the time they had Doryu, Apollo was there, Diggy was there, but I think he was in Subway at the time.
The restaurant?
So he was a Subway Cheetah, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you said he was at Subway. It's like, he missed the dance.
Yeah, he was at Subway.
He was at Subway.
No. He came to the competition as his persona was a Subway sandwich, and his theme song was "Eat Fresh." So he was a Subway Cheetah at the time. So there was only the four of us, and I was not proud of the performance that I did because I stayed up all night playing King's Cup with a group of friends. We were sobering up at the time, like 30 minutes before the competition, which turned out very horribly wrong. Mm-hmm. And I was on the floor and I was just flailing around, and then at some point I kind of just laid on the ground and forgot how to do the worm. So I tried to do that, and that was horrible. So I got last place out of fourth. Basically I got fourth.
Fourth place.
Yeah, I mean, out of four.
It could be worse.
They basically gave me a participation award of, hey, thanks for, filling a spot. Yeah. So after that, I decided that I wasn't going to go out that way, and Hogwash was already in the works being completed, and Hogwash's debut was Hogwash's first performance was Rainforest, which is why I think everybody believes that my first performance was Rainforest, but it actually wasn't.
How did Hogwash's first dance comp go?
They actually liked the performance, but they felt that there was not enough dancing and too much story.
Oh, really?
Yeah. there was a lot of just standing around, not moving, because I was, playing along with basically pantomiming the set. Yeah. So they felt that it was they said that there should be a little bit more performance and less of the exaggeration of the story itself. In performances, I feel that a story is just as important as the performance, but you have to be able to tell a story as the performance.
Right.
I took that into play and then, did a little bit less story, but added more performance to it. And then, over time, I came up with ice cream and Skittles and pizza.
This is a true thing. So what was
ice
that?
Cream, Skittles, and pizza.
Well, not in that order. Ice cream. Oh, okay. It was ice cream, pizza, and then Skittles.
I'm assuming these are characters?
Part of the performances, actually.
Oh, okay. All right.
So this is so going further in. So some of my accomplishments for placing in some of these conventions. So I placed in 2015 at second place, and the theme was ice cream. In the very beginning, I basically walked around as the ice cream man. So I bought, I think, 15 frozen Snicker ice cream bars right before the competition and walked out with all of them, sat on the stage. I did not eat any of them. Ray ate most of them.
Okay.
And the other judges were kind of mad. Well, Ray was happy because he said that this is my lunch right here. I didn't get to eat lunch, so thank you for that. So, I dumped a bunch of ice cream, like, I gave them, each of them, and then some of the performances, or some of the guys in the stands, they got ice cream too.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was the theme. And then I thought, why not keep this going? It wasn't about placing. It was just about giving more to the people who came to see me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where my performances came. It was never about me. It was never about me being in the spotlight. It was more about me sharing the love back to them and putting my heart and soul into these performances, including giving them food and treats, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like you've got love, but then you're giving them food. It's like very
yeah.
Always bribe the judges. Always bribe the judges.
That's what a lot of people said too.
When you first said the ice cream and just where my puppy brain went was like, oh, so like you went out and you danced to Sarah McLachlan's Ice Cream. Somehow I couldn't see Hogwash doing that better than any. Okay, anyway.
So then JD reached out to me wanting to do a choreography, and then I had seen JD dance and I had seen some of his performances, and I fell in love with everything that he does. He's an amazing dancer, and I've learned a lot from him. So we decided to team up and do an exhibition at BLFC. I think this was the same year at 15, where we implemented the pizza, which is the if you're familiar with the Full House series, they did the pizza song, Pizza, right? That one. So they played it in slow motion. Yeah. So they played it in slow motion. So, originally I thought about doing a Ninja Turtles thing because I'm a big Ninja Turtles fan. I thought, at the very end, I was going to bring out a box of pizza and say, Michelangelo's first movie was, wise men say forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza. And then JD came up with the idea of doing the slow motion Full House song at the very end and, pizza. And then I originally told him I didn't want to give the judges any pizza, but he ended up doing it. So I just showed him an empty box saying, I'm not going to give you any because everybody thought I was bribing the judges after FC. So yeah, so they said everybody said I got second place because I bribed the judges at FC. So when I came up with the pizza idea, I was like, I'm not going to give any pizza to anybody except for the people who were sitting in the crowd. No pizza for the judges.
No, take that, judges. That's what I'm.
And did you win then?
No. Because it was an exhibition more than anything.
Exhibition. Okay, yeah.
Gotcha. So because I think they only had 2 or 3 groups at the time, so it was pretty easy to see who wins. So we just called it an exhibition, and we were happy with that. The judges came and told us that if we had actually performed in the competition itself, then we would have won first place.
Oh
wow.
Well, that's cool.
Not only because of that, because of the in the background, you see, JD and I were nations apart. He was on the East Coast and I was on the West Coast. So we did the entire choreography over Skype.
Wow.
It took us about a month and a half to get everything working. And then when we met up at BLFC, we immediately started practicing, made some fine tune adjustments because some of the stunts that we were planning on doing were a little bit too dangerous. Yeah.
Oh, please tell us what one of these dangerous stunts were.
So JD was at the end of the set where he was at the performance where we kind of split off to different parts of the performance. We jumped up at the same time in unison and did the splits in the air. Well, we had actually changed that. That was actually a change after prelims because it was too dangerous and we couldn't get the timing right. The idea was at the end of it, he was going to run from one side of the stage with my back to him. And then dive underneath me when I did the jump split.
And you thought that might be a little dangerous or difficult or something?
So when we tried it during prelims, he ended up hitting my feet and then taking my feet out from under me.
Oh, no.
And then I ended up landing on my back. And the judges loved every second of it, but said that it might be a little too dangerous and it would be exceedingly hard to get that timing on point. So they recommended maybe considering changing that part.
Maybe consider. Did you
So
consider that?
maybe considering it. So we took it into consideration. We adjusted our routine, and it turned out really well. And then my first place competition was Rainforest 15, where I did the Skittles routine.
And what was the Skittles routine?
So I wanted to surprise everybody with Skittles, but I didn't want to dump it all over the stage because I would end up tripping all over them. So I decided to hide it underneath the judges' table. They had no idea it was there. So, you know, they had that intro to the Skittles intro. At the very end of the intro, it was, you know, taste the rainbow. And then I dumped the entire bag. I cleaned out the local Target that was there out of Skittles. I think I had over 100 bags of Skittles.
Oh wow.
That's a lot.
You know, the smaller bags. It was a lot of Skittles, and then the plan was to just dump them out and then just kick them all to everybody. I felt it was too dangerous for my footwork, so I dumped it all over the judges' table.
Nice.
At the end of the routine, you see me go out there and start throwing them like in all different directions, so that way everybody could get some. Ford decided to keep me from doing it, so I kept trying to do it anyway.
Or did?
Yeah. I watched that. I watched that video recently, and I was like, he kept putting his arm around you, and you kept trying to get away from him and move his hand away, and he kept.
Yeah, because I wanted to throw out more Skittles. That was my main goal. I wanted to ignore them completely and just get rid of all the Skittles and spread the Skittles around, because there were too many Skittles for the judges. Like I said, I didn't want to give anything to the judges and give anybody the idea that I was bribing them, so that way they could give me a place. That's why I ran out there. I started spreading Skittles around as much as I possibly could. After that routine, people still bring me bags of Skittles from time to time.
Well, there you go.
There you go. So it pays off to this day.
Yeah. And then I actually got first place from that competition too.
Nice.
Nice.
And on top of that, at several points, Boulder Dash was not as good of a dancer as Hogwash. Has he improved?
Not that I've seen so far. The idea was to get him more into dancing so he can do a mirror routine for a performance. However, dancing has kind of fallen off the wagon since COVID. So we've been trying to get him back on the grind, as well as myself, but I'm at a loss for space at the moment. So once I have more space to, you know, spread out and spread my posies.
I love that you said posies. I like posies. You got me excited just now. I wag.
So what would you classify as yours and Boulder Dash's style of dancing?
So Boulder Dash's extent of dancing is dabbing.
Okay.
I don't know if it qualifies anymore since it's over 5 years old and doesn't qualify as a dance move anymore. So Hogwash's is more of a fluid locking, and then we've been trying for tutting, but its angles are really, really complicated. So I've been working on tutting.
Tutting. Explain tutting.
Tutting is everything is based on angles, like 90-degree angles.
Okay.
So, like with your elbows and wrists and stuff like that, and you do fun like movements, and you make it fun and look nice and stuff.
So let's move along to your DJing. So you do DJ stuff too? Is that what I understand?
I'm still pretty much a novice to the DJ world. I've stepped into it to see how I would do. I do have my high school years and junior high is a musical background. I played percussion for a couple years. I've done marching band, jazz band, concert band. You know, I play percussion in just about, you know, every type of music thing you can think of. So in the Navy, we have like this rec center, and I got with a group of guys who, you know, we played some Beatles music just, you know, out of the rec center. So I played the drums, and we had a guy on bass and guitar, and, you know, we just jammed out. So I figured, you know, why not try it? Why not get back into the music scene? And, you know, DJing in the furry fandom was, you know, it seemed to be like a cool thing to get into. So I spoke to a couple of other DJs. I talked to DJ Ear. I talked to Ronnie's a big influence on my DJing. I know that he was on the show a couple of months ago too.
Yes.
He's a big influence, and he still is.
Rekka?
I have talked to Rekka. I actually asked him if there was anything that I should start DJing, like, you know, to get into this. Where should I start? And he says, start with drum and bass. Oh, and I asked him why, and he says it's because it's probably one of the hardest things to DJ. And if you can get through that and you can do a decent show with drum and bass, then you can pretty much DJ anything.
And did you do it?
No, I have not touched drum and bass.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for your advice. I'm going to go somewhere else with this.
Yeah. So, I've looked at, performances, it's like house music, progressive house and EDM. And I was actually considering, since BLFC's DJ floors are pretty much always open, I thought about doing just like a chill morning, like DJ set for like, while people are eating breakfast or something like that, just playing chill music.
Yeah. Well, that'd be fun.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not like there's somebody on the table, but I'm not looking for people to just rave out and dance the night away and everything. I mean,
I could just see it now, like you're up there DJing and stuff, and then everyone's got like their Cheerios and Lucky Charms and stuff, and then you bust it out, and then they're all like throw their bowls of Cheerios and Lucky Charms up in the air, and they're just raving. Lucky Charms flying everywhere, and then Tony Tiger like jumps out, and then how that goes from there.
Yeah, the breakfast DJ set. Yes, they're magically delicious. That's something that I thought about doing. Like I really love chill step probably more than anything. I mean, it's chill. So it's it's all about the melody. It's all about the melody, and then with some rhythm stuff in it. So it's. Yeah, so I'm really into that. With the motions, I can actually follow the rhythm a lot easier. I can actually dance to that, which is nice.
I don't know if I've seen you DJ at a con. Maybe I have, but maybe I've just been elsewhere.
I've done a couple. So I did BLFC for about 15 minutes. That goes back into my first dance competition. So my first DJ set was horrible. I didn't like it. Neither did anybody else.
Okay.
But, they told me that I didn't clear the floor, which is a good thing.
I've seen DJs clear the floor.
I have. Yeah. I was going to say the same thing.
So they told me I didn't clear the floor, which is a good thing. But, I had a lot of work to do. And the same thing with dance competitions. I refused to go out like that. I did another show at Furlandia. I think it was the Dead Dog at 16. Because it was my last con. So I did Dead Dog, and it was between myself and Raven. So we alternated, which was fun. All of Dead Dog, because it was just going to be him, because they didn't have enough DJs. So so he was just going to play music. So I thought, hey, it's my last califer. So would you mind mixing it up with me? And he's like, yeah, sure.
I thought you said Furlandia 16, and
did I say that?
I remember.
No, Califer Dead Dog.
I remember that. So I have seen you. I just lied. I was there till the very, very end. I'm so proud of myself. Somehow I made it, and I don't know how.
So I did BLFC, but I didn't actually DJ at BLFC. There were a group of friends and we hosted the Off-Road Furries Party a couple years at Biggest Little FurCon.
Off-Road Furry Party. Do I know what that is?
That started as Halon, myself, Sandwiches. Let's see. Oh gosh, there were 7 or 8 of us. I think Dirty Paws was there. So it was a group of us who were into ATVs, dirt bikes, 250s, 450s, like off-road trucks. My 2004 Subaru has been off-road and has been jumped a couple times.
Nice.
So yeah, so it was anything that involved getting a motor vehicle dirty was basically off-road furries. And we even had vinyl stickers, 4x4, but the 4s were paws instead.
So better be. Yeah, so it better be.
Yeah, pausies. There you go. So then we had off-road furries parties where the drinks were mixed and then put into gas containers, and that's how we dispensed them. So we had those for a couple years, and the first year was the greatest because all the rest of the parties, even the biggest little FurCon party got shut down. But our party went on until 420 because
why not?
Yeah, why not? So all the rest of the parties were shut down. Everybody was flocking into our party because it was still going. And then, over time, people started getting tired. And so we decided like, hey, let's end this at 420. We're the last party going. And it's not because we're getting shut down. It's because we're deciding to close it out.
Cool.
Then we did it 2 more years after that. And then for the entire time, we had never gotten shut down. The last DJ set I did was at Furlandia, and it was a last minute sub-in. I think it was 18, I want to say.
Okay. A few years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't that long ago. So I had brought my stuff just because I had it. One of the DJs got sick and they weren't able to make it. And the sub-in, so only mode of contact was an email, no social media. Yeah, so they couldn't get to him. The AV guys came to me and they were like, hey, and the DJ coordinator's like, hey, do you have your stuff? And I said, yeah. They said, can you come up with a set in an hour? Sure. They're like, all right, great. So we're going to move the closer to the 10:30 to 11:30 slot. And then you're going to have the 11:30 closing. I look at the clock and, I've got 45 minutes to come up with a plan and 15 minutes to set up and, get balanced and talk to the closing DJ and get the rhythm and the BPM and everything lined up. And sure enough, it turned out to be a really good show. There were a couple of hard points, but I mean, it turned out great as far as I know.
You live to tell about it, so that's something.
It's true. I'm still alive and I still haven't cleared a floor. So
do you Twitch currently?
I do. So my Twitch channel is Hoggers, HOGGERS_Z. A friend of mine, Zuka, he said Poggers one time, and I was like, oh, I should change my Twitch channel to Hoggers. And then everybody on the Discord said, yes, you should absolutely do that. So I did. And, it's been that way ever since. Mostly I play Modern Warfare. I'll play zombies with my wife, or I'll play some multiplayer just because I want to hear all the toxicity that comes out of everybody else's mouth. Just for my own entertainment. I don't understand how people, I get mad, but I only get mad at Mario Kart because Mario Kart cheats.
Yeah, well.
I've been trying to get 3 stars in all the Grand Prix, but I just can't do it on 150. I've been on the same Grand Prix for like 6 months.
Yeah, I think the definite cheat.
And that's where all the profanities come out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see. So do you like at a regular time? Is there a normal time that we can come watch you?
I recently came out with the idea of doing Fancy Fridays because during Christmas, my sister-in-law does a pajama thing where you get pajamas every Christmas. So this past year, she got me a tuxedo onesie.
Oh.
So I came up with the idea of doing Fancy Fridays. Around 8 p.m. every Friday night, I do Fancy Friday where I play just random games, whether it be Modern Warfare, Pokemon. I play Left 4 Dead 2 sometimes. I play Killing Floor 2 with Sunbun.
How about My Little Pony?
No,
My Little Pony. Okay. Making sure, just checking in on that.
Give me a second. Hang on. I'm pretty sure that's a no.
Oh, yeah, indeed.
My computer would crash, I think.
Where can our listeners find all your social media stuff? We know you're Hoggers Z at one point, so.
Yeah, so Hoggers Z on Twitch. My Twitter is RAK3T, which is Racket, and it's been that way ever since from the very beginning. And then I have a Telegram. You can find me there. It's just the Hogwash. I have a Discord. It's the Slander channel. So there I have, I have some voice chat. You can relax and unwind. I have a voice chat called Pew Pew Die, which is which is all my shooter games like Borderlands and things like that. And then I have an Among Us chat. I think it's you sound sus.
Okay.
So
you do.
You sound sus. Yeah.
I get that all the time.
You do. So there's usually I stream on the weekends. I do work 10-hour days, Tuesday through Friday.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. So streaming during the week is kind of rough. So Friday night, Saturday sometimes, and then Sunday is waifu day. So I spend the day with the wife. And then also on Twitch, I actually started a merch store with Spiffy Art or Kana. They do the artwork, and then I'm the idea behind the artwork stuff. All of the merch that we've come up with so far is sold on Stream Elements. We have t-shirts, we have tank tops, a giant mouse pad. That I have one here.
Can you wear the mouse pad and use the tank top as a mouse pad instead? Does that switch work?
So you are more than welcome to go on to our merchandise page, purchase both of those things, and you can test them out yourself.
There you go, Taebyn. You can test it out.
I will.
You can test it out. And please let me know.
I will let you know. Yes.
Yeah, great.
And where should I go to get to your merchandise page?
Just check the link on the channel, and
or
you can check out my Twitch channel. The command is merch. It's !merch, and then it'll post a link in the chat for the merch store where you can check that stuff out. Feel free to ask me. I'm more than welcome to send that information out to you. We came up with the idea of actually giving merch away every month.
Oh.
And so all it takes is just a follow and some channel points, which are free. So everything is free. All you have to do is just be there.
And then you get a free empty pizza box.
Yeah. Only for those who are judging me.
Only
There you are.
So like no one in the furry fandom.
Yeah, so we give away stuff every month. You don't have to pay for shipping. All you have to do is follow me and just be there on the day that we do it, which is every first fancy Friday of the month. We do just a random drawing. You just follow me, put in your name for the entry, and at the top of every hour, we just do a random draw, and you could possibly get a free t-shirt or a tank top or a coffee mug or some stickers or a giant mouse pad.
Or
Nice.
a mouse pad.
So,
or maybe even a giant sheet that is trying to scare the sheep that is running after you while you have nightmares from My Little Pony.
Right. So
Right?
let's
Right?
right. Okay. So
right?
Is there anything else that you would like our listeners to know about you, Husky?
No, I'm pretty much an open book. I mean, there isn't much that people don't know about me already. People think that because we're over 30 that we're gray muzzles, but you got to start somewhere. I mean, we're all here to have fun, and I enjoy the fandom. It's done a lot for me. It's taught me a lot about acceptance and being comfortable with who you are. And there are a lot of people that are going through a lot more than I am, but to me it's I'm so honored to be friends with everybody who's going through those issues, and overcoming them and becoming a better person and just being accepting on who you are. My hats are off to you.
So what's your parting shot? What's your words of wisdom?
I tried to think about this, and I feel that I haven't been in the fandom long enough to have any words of wisdom to everybody except for Taebyn.
Oh.
So Taebyn, you are a pup.
This is true. I'm with you so far.
So there are some things that I had found that I thought would be some really good advice for you in the future.
Okay.
Okay. So I just wanted to let you know it is impossible to hide broccoli in a glass of milk.
Okay.
This is really good to know. I am actually because I was actually, just before you said that, I had this glass of milk here, and then I had a cauliflower. But I feel that that's close to the same thing. I was about to combine the two into a puppy dish mixture of something that would probably turn out really bad. So thank you for saving me from myself.
Okay. Yeah, and then the other thing was that I'm not sure if you know this, but if you have a plate that is almost empty and you have your peas are still left over, because you don't want to eat those because pups don't like peas. If you actually spread them out along the plate, spread them out throughout the entire plate, it looks like you ate more of them.
Oh, it's true. It's true.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
This is very good. Wow. You have so many good.
Just trying to help you out. So just in case you don't want to eat your vegetables, just don't try and hide broccoli in a glass of milk, and make sure you spread your peas out so that way it looks like you ate
that's
more.
why you shouldn't hide your broccoli. Okay, I actually just got that now. I wasn't. I mean, because I got the cauliflower thing, but I couldn't quite put together. But now I got it.
And as a pup, you should always spread your peas out.
Yes.
Different trees for different peas.
Mm.
Hogwash, thank you for coming on our show. I think I'm going to end it right there, because I think
thank you so much for having me. It's
so much off the rails at this point. So
thanks again for having me and reaching out.
You're quite welcome. Yeah. Taebyn,
It's
you have anything you want to say goodbye?
I do want to say goodbye. I want to say hi.
Good.
I hug you tight with pausies, but like virtually right now.
Pausies.
Hopefully sometime in the near-ish or sometime future, we can hug in the fluff, and that'll be near-ish. It's like with the peas and the broccoli I don't eat. I am not nourished because I didn't eat my peas. Okay, anyway. So hopefully we can do that in the future. And until then, I hope you have a wonderful evening and a wonderful
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you next time.
You.
Bark, bark.
Thank you so much for having me.
What a great guy. I have to ask you a question, though, Taebyn. What does sus mean?
Oh, in the game Among Us, you can either collaborate you're on a spaceship and you can either collaborate with people, but there's also this one person that's supposed to be sabotaging the ship and everything and trying to kill people and stuff. And so one goal that you can have is to find that naughty, and that's the sus for suspect.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So I hear that a lot, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. Oh, you kids these days.
I
I
know.
swear,
I'm
you kids these days, you got all sorts of funny words for things.
funny word for things, yeah. Oh yeah, I'm proud of myself for actually knowing myself. Hogwash, he's as you know, you talked to me. He's a great fur. I've known him for at least a few years now. I think he's the one that at NW dance comp just ran over and said, "Okay, you finish this now, Taebyn." And okay,
Mm-hmm.
but
Right.
anyway,
Right.
no,
Yeah.
it was fun. Yeah, no, he's a great guy. Love him, love him.
Great guy. Great guy. I'm glad he came on the show. All right. Now it's time for you to warm up your voice because it's time for Furries in the News.
Teriyaki sauce. Hopefully the teriyaki sauce isn't in the fur because that would be messy and you'd have to take a shower. Furries in the one and only That is a thing I just did.
That is a thing you just did. Wow. All right.
I might have topped the episode 39 one. We'll see.
You might have.
Challenge number 3 for all you furs. Compare what just happened to the one in episode 39 and vote on it. Tell us what you think. Which one is better?
Which one's better? Yeah, right.
I should put out a Twitter poll.
And furries that are listening, please let us know if you have a favorite episode. We are coming up on the end of season 1 soon, in about 10 episodes. We're season 1 ending show. We would like to know your favorites, your favorite bits, your favorite things, and we'll do kind of like a clip show highlighting all the favorite things that people have and furs have for listening to our show.
Yeah, definitely. So, if you have favorite jokes or segments or me being stupid, or which is I guess every time, or barely being amazing, which is all the time, let us know and we'll clip it together and put it in
it'll be kind of fun.
Season finale, or is it the season finale or the season 2?
Season finale.
Cool. Yep. And we've been doing this. So this is episode what, 30 or 40?
This is 43.
43
or 44.
44. So
44.
Yeah, we've been doing this quite a lot. So yes, we have a lot of things we'd like to know. What is your favorite? So let us know and we'll put it in there.
Unlike big famous people who have like 10 episode seasons, then they take 6 months off and they come back for a new season.
No, we're hardcore. We're doing 52 in a row here is what we're going for.
52 in a row, and then season 2, episode 1 will be basically the 50. Next week. So
yep, pretty much.
Anyway, so furries of the news. So there was a small article in the Minnesota Daily paper on the Ask Dr. Date column entitled, "My girlfriend is into furries. It makes me insecure when sports mascots are on the screen."
That is so amazing already.
Right.
So how does that go?
So this poor guy wrote, it's kind of like a Dear Abby letter. In the olden days, Dear Abby was a columnist in many papers, and people would write in and ask for advice. Now, this was called Ask Dr. Date. Now, this poor guy feels uncomfortable because his girlfriend said, "I would really like to get with a furry. I think they're hot and sexy, and I really want to get with a furry."
So many levels already. It's like the elevator. There's a lot of levels.
There's a lot of levels. Yeah. And so this poor guy wanted to know what he should do, because now when he watches sports and the mascot comes on, his girlfriend comes running into the room to watch the mascot dance around. And,
and what is the mascot?
Whatever the sports mascot may be. That's what she's, it's just
whatever it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And the closing, one of the lines in his letter states, "Never in my life did I think I was going to feel inferior,
of course,
when I saw a person-sized gopher, but here we are."
But here we are indeed, right?
Here we are, right.
Shout out to you. Here we are.
And the advice from Dr. Date said that you should embrace her kink and get a fursuit.
Like, just roll with it, right? Like, just
Roll with it. Yeah, I mean,
embrace it all.
if
Like, don't
if
fight it.
if that's what she's into, then go for it, man. Go for it.
For artists out there, so as I say, it's not really furries in the news as per se. It's a website, and this is really great for animal artists. You go to it, and you can select different animal skulls. It sounds morbid, but it's not. So, like wolf skull, or lizard, or dog, or cat, or whatever, like a bunch of different skulls. And what you can do is you get a little profile of it, and you use the mouse to drag it around. And it's 3D, so you can drag it around to different angles, all you want, which is great. And then you hit search, and it goes to the internet and finds that species with their head held in that position, which is really cool. Just anyway, but this is really great for artists, because if you want, well, obvious reasons, if you want to get a visualization, if you want to, you're drawing a particular wolf, say, and you want it to be in a particular position, and can't quite visualize the angle, you can just go to the site and draw to and move the mouse around to the exact angle you want it, and experiment and things, and you get a ton of different images of pictures of that species with their head, just their head. It's not the rest of their body. It's just the head in that position. So it's actually really cool just in general. And I think this would be really useful for furry artists.
All right. Well, we will put the link in the information to the podcast, and you can click the link and move your skull around.
And move your skull around. And if you're listening to this on Spotify or something and can't find the website, join our Telegram chat and ask us, and we'll give it there. Maybe we'll just post it as a link in the Telegram.
Have you heard of the book, the Redwall series?
Seems familiar, but I don't think I have.
So it's a series of novels. I think there's like 22 books. Yes, 22 books. They're anthropomorphic, and they're all animals, and the whole thing.
Like it's already.
Right, yeah. It's Brian Jacques. The Netflixers bought the rights for the adaptation for the Redwall stories, and they are going to make a movie of this for Netflix. And then they're going to make event series based on the character of Martin the Warrior. So they're going to make a movie, and then the character Martin the Warrior is going to be a spin-off of his own series in Netflix.
This sounds really cool. I am looking forward to it.
They're mostly rodents. Is a raccoon a rodent?
Something for next week.
Right.
So for any raccoons out there, let us know. Is a raccoon a rodent?
I haven't seen any upcoming events in the near future. That I do know that Spokane Throw canceled for 2021.
Yeah, but they're planning on 2022.
I believe it's a math week. Is it a math week? Do you have a mathy thing for us?
I do. Hopefully it won't take too much time, but it's interesting, I think. So last week you might or might not remember, I said I noticed I had not done math history thing in a while. So I thought this week I should do math history thing. It's a history thing, but it relates to now. So I think it's actually pretty interesting. So Euclid, have you heard of the Greek mathematician Euclid?
I have, in fact, heard of Euclid.
Yeah, very actually famous. He was actually in 300 BC. So this is a long time ago. He's actually known as the quote unquote founder of geometry.
Yes.
So all the geometry you know, right? Oh, you knew that. Yeah. So
I did
all
know
the
that,
geometry you know today and love, we'll say, came from Euclid. So have you heard of Euclid's elements, quote unquote, the elements?
I have not. What are his Euclidean elements?
Euclid came up with, quote unquote, the elements, 300 BC. This was 13 books that were covering, for the most part, geometry and number theory. As a slight digression, just to talk a little bit about what number theory is. I mean, I've talked about it on previous episodes. What was the kind of basis of number theory? Like, what is that about? Well, if you think about like a clock, which is 1 through 12, okay, but instead numbered 0 through 11, we can think about clock arithmetic, meaning what if you had 11 on a clock and added 1? Well, you get 0. What if you had 10 and added 4? You'd have
2.
You'd have 2. See, very good. So, you know, clock arithmetic, which is officially called modular arithmetic. This is actually a big thing in number theory. And this is kind of the foundation of number theory, this modular clock arithmetic. So it's obviously very useful and important. Anyway, coming back to Euclid. So in Euclid's Elements, he covered geometry number theory and had lots of proofs and basic properties and developed the basic theory on which a lot of what is known today is built on. As far as geometry goes, he had some postulates about geometry. So this is called these are the axioms of plane geometry called Euclid's postulates. And there's 5 of them. So this is what motivated the origins of geometry and what our geometry now really stands on. The first one is, and these will all be like, obvious, but remember, this had to come from somewhere, and this came from 300 BC. So this is what it is. So the first one is a straight line segment can be drawn by joining any 2 points. Yeah, we know that. And this is one of the original postulates, axioms. So this is like where geometry is built upon. Number 2, a straight line segment can be extended indefinitely in a straight line, meaning take a line segment, like it's cut off, it's finite. You can just extend it forever. And that's the second. The third is, given any straight line segment, you can build a circle from it. And here's how you do it. Given a line segment, a circle can be drawn having that line segment as the radius and one of its endpoints as the center.
Okay.
So take a line segment and basically fix one of the endpoints and move the circle. Yeah, exactly. Move this
and move it around.
Line segment around, you get a circle. So these are all things that make sense. I mean, and the fourth one is all right angles are congruent. And congruent means, so take a thing and like blow it up where the ratios of all the sides are the same and everything. So you're not changing lengths really, like you're changing them proportionately. So think of a right triangle, so 90 degrees. Just if you take the legs and extend them out, same rate, same length, you get kind of a bigger version of the original. That's what needs to be congruent. So that's the fourth postulate. All right triangles are congruent. And the fifth one, sometimes known as the parallel postulate. So it just says, if you take a straight line, so this is line number 1, take a straight line and take a point not on the line. The postulate is that there exists one and only one line that goes through that point that does not intersect first line. This is what it means to be parallel. There's only one line that does that through that point. Now, for a long time, in fact, 1,000 years, this postulate, the parallel postulate, troubled mathematicians because it seemed like, if you think about the other postulates, the first 4, it seems that this parallel postulate should come from those. Like, we shouldn't have to have a fifth. We should only have to have 4 because this parallel thing should it makes sense from the other 4. Well, for about 1,000 years, mathematicians tried to prove the fifth one from the previous 4, and they couldn't do it. So it became that indeed we needed this fifth thing to become part of what's now known as Euclidian geometry. The fact that this fifth one troubled mathematicians so much made people think, what if we were to not have that? What would happen if we only had the first 4? This is what today is now known as non-Euclidean geometry. Might have heard of, yes. So this is where this is. And when you don't have that, really interesting things happen. Because if you think about what that says, this means you could have a line and a point not on the line. And you can have more than one line through that point that intersects the first line. But those lines are what are called parallel. So in this non-Euclidean geometry, you have parallel lines that intersect. And this point of intersection is sometimes known as the point at infinity. So this is really interesting. You get really cool art from this. From this, you get things known as hyperbolic geometry and elliptic geometry. And these things were first actually studied in the 11th century. And it actually wasn't until 1829 when like an actual theory of some sorts of hyperbolic and elliptic geometry was actually put out. So it was a long time before people actually really started realizing there's some really cool things here. And a lot of the art we have today is based on this hyperbolic and elliptical geometry. There's a branch of math called complex analysis.
Do you have to yell it when you say that?
I do. It's very important to do that. Complex analysis that puts these things together. And when I say put these things together, there is a lot of theory and nuances and lots of things involved in what I say there. But in the end, complex analysis has a lot of beautiful symmetries and a lot of things about how you have parallel lines that intersect and don't intersect but still curve.
Right.
And it's really, really cool stuff. And this has generated different branches of mathematics and stuff, and number theory and geometry and things like that. Euclid, founding father, back in 300 BC, all this really cool, beautiful mathematics and art comes all from that. So shout out to Euclid. And that's my math history for the week.
Thank you, Euclid.
Thank you,
or Euclid. Euclid, Euclid, we all clid for geometry. Anyway, that's going to nice segue us into our really bad jokes section. All right. Really?
So let me do that again.
You sound like Cookie Monster.
I do. I was thinking the same thing. That's like Cookie Monster right there. So what is that song? He goes, "Say yes for Cookie, Cookie's good enough, not for me," or something like that.
Say yes for a cookie, that's good
it's
enough,
good enough for me. That's how it goes.
Say yes for a cookie, that's good enough for me. Say yes
now
for a cookie,
I drink
that's good
water,
enough
so
for
now I
me.
have to pee.
Cookie starts with C. Okay.
Pee.
Let's see if Sesame Street sues us, or HBO at this point for singing the cookie song on our podcast.
Okay.
Since HBO owns Sesame Street now.
Do they?
Yeah.
Really? When did that happen?
About 4 years ago.
Wow. I've been out of it. I've not been watching my Snuffleupagus. No, Snuffleupagus.
Snuffleupagus. Yeah. The interesting thing about that is, Sesame Street was on public broadcasting, and so, poor people and poor kids and people that live in poverty could get education by watching Sesame Street on public broadcasting.
Yeah. It's true. Yep.
Now they're on HBO, so you have to have a subscription to watch them. They kind of missed their mark with their.
They missed mark.
They missed the mark there. Yeah. So anyway,
come on, guys. OPP, get it together.
Anyway, really bad jokes. Do you have some really bad jokes from your 1968 joke book?
Any of you furs out there that have heard this section or not, I don't know. This book is from 1968 and it's called Funny Jokes on Foxy Riddles. And I don't agree with any of those words. I have not read any of these jokes before, so this is the first time we're hearing them, and they're usually really bad. So I'll just read the first one that we've never heard, which goes, Barely, can you tell me? And I have a feeling you can actually answer this correctly.
Okay.
What does a ghost on guard duty say when he hears a noise?
Boo goes there?
Very close. Halt! Who ghost there?
I was
either.
close.
I'll accept either one. I'll accept either one.
Hey, do you know why the sesame seed couldn't leave the casino?
I could take a guess, but I really think you need to tell me.
Why couldn't the sesame seed leave the casino? Because he was on a roll.
He was. It could have been pumpernickel. It could have been rye, but he was on it.
Could have been a Kaiser roll.
Could have been a Kaiser roll. And if he was in the right casino where the attendants giving him drinks, they were trying to butter him up. Now, so I
let's
said
move
before,
on to your next joke.
I said earlier in this episode that I wasn't going to tell any more jokes, and you said no, do it. And then I said that, and maybe you should
we're in the joke
reconsider.
section. It's in the joke section, so we're good. Yeah,
it's okay. We're not going to get prosecuted. It's okay. It's okay.
That's right. Yeah. So what's your next joke?
Name a collective noun.
Tax guys.
Garbage truck. I don't know.
I think we've heard these before.
I think we have. Barely, can you tell me why did the moron bring a ladder to a football game?
I don't know. Why did the moron, which is not politically correct, bring a ladder to the football game?
Well, that was the only way that he could see the Giants play.
Okay. So, if it wasn't for bees, bears would just be ears.
I heard that. Oh my. Did you know why you cannot drive a golf ball.
There's no wheels on it?
I think what you said is right.
Mhm.
And I say it like that because I don't really understand the joke. So apparently, maybe you can explain it to me.
Okay.
So apparently, you cannot drive a golf ball because it doesn't have a steering wheel.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
I don't
As
know.
as in
I don't even
driving
get
a
it.
car, and when you hit a golf ball, it's called driving the golf ball because you hit it with a driver.
Oh, you drive it with oh
Yeah.
my cow.
Mhm.
Wow, it took there's like you had to go a long way around to
Long
okay,
way
got
around
it.
to get that joke. Yeah. So,
Got it. I actually got it though. That's good. I'm not happy that I got it, but there it is.
but yeah. So, do you know what the difference is between ignorance and apathy?
One has an ig and one has a thee.
No, I don't know, and I don't care.
Do you know, Barely, what day of the year is a command to go forward? March 4th!
Oh. Oh, yes. All right. Do you have one more joke? Because I have a long joke that's a classic joke.
Why are the medieval centuries called the Dark Ages?
I don't know why.
Because it was nighttime.
With a K.
Yeah, with a
With
K.
a
And
K. Yes.
it's a special. They eat their cereal because it's a special K.
It's a special K. All right. So here is a classic joke. It's an old joke. You probably won't get it. But
Because
so,
we know how I am. I'm
there
really
was
excited
once
though.
a wise and talented Chinese woodworker named Tony Chan. Now, Mr. Chan's favorite medium was teak wood, and he would import the most expensive and exquisite teak from the South Asia area
I hear
because
that's
that's where
pretty
they
good
come from.
wood.
Yes.
It's pretty okay.
This wood was very, very nice. He only selected the highest quality wood. Now, one
Okay.
day, a juvenile delinquent, you know who those are, right? Little
Oh,
kids. Yeah,
like
right.
me and my kin.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So this juvenile delinquent saw the supply of wood in the back of Chan's shop, and he thought he could make an easy profit by stealing the wood and selling it.
He's a like a Nick Wilde there.
Yeah. Right.
I
Yeah. So
see the connection.
and to use the old vernacular, as he cased the joint, he noticed that the floor of the shop had sensors for noise, and he knew his shoes would set off the alarms. So he went
He's smart though. He's
So he
smart.
went home and he found a pair of slippers. Now, these slippers, much to his chagrin, were the bear paw type slippers. So basically, bear
Oh, the
paws.
kind you wear, Barely.
Sometimes, yes. But no matter, he knew they would do the job and keep his feet quietly on the cement. So he waited until the shop closed and he broke in and he went to the supply area. And once there, he opened up the back door and loaded up as much teak as he could carry and started through the alley towards his getaway truck. Now, he had this teak stacked way up in front of his face. As he rounded the corner, he bumped into a policeman. The policeman, of course, couldn't see the boy's face, but he could see the slippers. And noticing that they were outside of Mr. Chan's shop and the boy was carrying all the teak wood, he said, "I have caught you, little man, barefoot boys with teaks of Chan."
I mean, I like the rhyme, but I think you're right. I don't.
Way back in the 1800s,
That was a long time ago.
yes, there was a well-known Quaker poet.
Is that like the oatmeal?
Yes, it's the oatmeal.
That's okay. Good. So we're
Quaker
eating
poet
oatmeal
oatmeal,
way back
yes.
when. Okay.
Yes. Named John Greenleaf Whittier, and he
Okay.
wrote a poem called The Barefoot Boy. And the opening line is, "I see you there, little man, the barefoot boy with cheeks of tan." And so
Okay.
the joke is a play on that.
Okay. So say that last line again, then.
So the last line of the joke is, "I have caught you, little man, barefoot boy with teaks of Chan."
Okay.
Okay. Instead of barefoot boy with cheeks of tan.
Tan. Yes.
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 Oh, so many times. Yes.
Many times and many puns have come and gone. And that brings us to the end of our show. This is the beginning of the end. The end of the show, that is.
It's the end of the world as we. Well, I hope
No.
not. Actually, it's the end of the show as we know it. Do you know what song that is?
Yes, it's The End of the World as We Know It by
By
I don't remember this
REM.
artist. REM. which stands for rapid eye movement.
Does stand for rapid eye movement. This is a thing that happens while you sleep.
That's when you know you're dreaming.
See, it's an interesting question. Do you know you're dreaming when you're dreaming?
I don't know, but you know that the actual dream time in actual time is usually only about 5 to 10 seconds. But in your mind, it seems like it takes a long time. But it's actually only 3 to 5 seconds. You actually have REM sleep for 3 to 5 seconds every hour, and that's when you dream.
I thought it was REM that was 90 minutes long. There's one phase of the sleep cycle that's 90 minutes, and that's why if your alarm goes off and if it's in the middle of that 90-minute cycle, it's so hard and painful to wake up because you're in the middle of that 90-minute segment.
I don't. Well, there we go. There's another thing for next week.
There's another thing.
It's like REM sleep and 90 minutes. Okay. So thanks again to all our listeners. Thanks for sticking around. It's been a long episode this time. We do this all for you. Be sure to help support the show through donations or even sharing with your friends or family. And beginning on March 1st, go to the Ursa Major Awards website and vote for us.
Yes.
Vote for us in the magazine category as one of the better magazines for 2020. All right. You can join us on Telegram. You can join us on Twitter. You can send us an email. You can send us a tweet. You can send us a sweet or a feat. I don't know.
But if you send us a sweet, that would be very sweet because then we could live it up.
We would live it up. Well, Taebyn, I'm going to say goodbye, every fur, until next week, and remember to stay furry.
And I'm going to say, I have more to say apparently. So I'm going to say yes, thank you, every fur. If you've listened all this time or even any of it, please share the podcast with your friends. I hope they like it because we just want to help others be happy and everything and entertain. And we love doing this, but we really love doing it for you. So I hope you love it. And share it. Let other furs know how crazy this pup is and how amazing that Barely is. So we're like, So we're looking forward to getting to con again, hugging some stuff. Again, thank you. Support us if you can. If you can't, you support us just by listening. So thank you so much. Mm-hmm. And on that note, we will bark at you next time. Bark, bark, we wag.
Barely Furcasting is an Injured Nerves studio production and is found on all major podcast platforms or can be heard directly at barelyfurcasting.com. The opinions expressed here are those of the hosts and their guests, and no commercial compensation was granted. The Furcast is produced, recorded, and directed by me, Barely Normal, aka Mike Began, and is edited by myself and our associate editors Rain Raccoon and Bixby Wolf. Opening and closing theme music, as well as some interstitial music, was created for Injured Nerves Productions for the use on the podcast by our music associate Regday with Damien Tanuki. If you would like to hear more music by Regday, you can search for Tweezerbeak on Bandcamp or Hoop Loop Tunes on SoundCloud. Other interstitial and background music by Shane Ivers through silvermansound.com and the YouTube Free Use Library. If you would like to send us a message, you can do so via email at barelyfurcasting@gmail.com or on our Telegram chat at BFFTchat, on Twitter, on our Facebook page, or on the barelyfurcasting.com webpage. You can support the show through donations at ko-fi.com/barelyfurcasting or through Patreon at patreon.com/barelyfurcasting. Thanks for listening. We hope you come back and listen next week.